Another thing, I just sort of sculpted this as I liked, just made it up as I went along. Another way you could do this is bring in a reference image. So I could, the way to do this, there's a number of different ways. You can project it from the camera. I always forget how to do that. I'm lazy, so I just go create a plane, and then I rotate it. I need to rotate it on the Z, negative 90. Oops, hang on, I want Z to be 4. Yeah, that's fine. Move that back, scale that up. Then I'm going to put a picture onto this plane to use as a reference image for my sculpting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the plane and go into the material attributes here. Material attributes, let me just do that again, and it should give me the material data here. So if you can't find it, if it doesn't show up straight away, it's in the attribute editor. It should be in Lambert 1 as the default material. We're going to change the color information of this material to be a file. I'm going to click File. I'm going to go to the image name here and find my tutorial project. And I've found a side view of a dog on Google Images. I'm going to open that up. Has it done anything? Oh, it's frozen, I think. What's going on? We are frozen. It's crashed. No? Ah, we're good. We can't see it yet because we're still in the shaded view. We need to go 6 for texture. So that's pressing 6 on the keyboard. And I need to rotate that along the y-axis 90 degrees. Okay, so there's a dog. And you just do the same thing, except, so you create a cube. Oh, now that's got the dog on it. We need to give it a new material by right-clicking on it, assign new material. I'm just going to pick Lambert, and now it's just a grey box again. And you go back into the same workflow that we did for the last video. Inputs, polycube, give it some subdivisions. You're going to cut it in half. Just make sure that's selected properly. Delete that. And then do your duplicate special. Edit, duplicate special, got a -1, yep. And remember, and people will make this mistake, that this is facing forwards on the Z-axis. Z-axis is pointing that way. And instead of sort of just free forming it, which I might just extend that because it's a bit more correct that way, you can use the space bar to go into your side view, except we just need to turn on the textured view in the side view by pressing 6 as well. And you can actually start, because they're separate objects, we just need to move these together. You can go back into the perspective view, select both, hit space bar and come back into this one, and just start to set those up ready to sculpt. And I'm going to select these faces, kind of move them over. What I'm going to do here is, the problem is you're going to have to go between this, what we call an orthogonal view, and the other view quite a lot, because you need to make sure that you're moving all of these edges here, not just one. And I'm giving this whole set of faces here about the width of one leg, because I want to extrude the leg down. See, you could even set up a curve here and follow the curve, or you could just do it manually. So now I'm going to go into the face select. I'm going to Control E to extrude. Oops, I've got to change my edit mesh extrude settings and do one at a time. No curve. And Control E. Just give myself a whole bunch to work with. And then go back into here. And start to kind of set these up. Oops. Face. And just start to sort of mold them to the shape of the leg. And they're not looking very good at the moment. Hang on. Oops. The only problem with using the image on the plane behind it is that you accidentally select it, of course. Now, see what's happening here? I need to use both. I need to select both when making any change. Anyway, you see where I'm going with this. Just a process of slowly manipulating everything until it looks like a decent approximation of what you're trying to get. Now, another thing you can do is, at the moment, I think we've got... Okay, sorry, I had an error that I had to look up that has to do with the graphics card, and I had to reset a whole bunch of stuff. That is very normal when using Maya. It often has random errors that you have to kind of Google and fix. What happened was my perspective view went all grey and I couldn't get my object back on screen even if I pressed F. I had to go and manually change the transform of the camera, the viewport camera, to fix that. So anyway, I'm back. Actually, for the moment, I'm going to delete that object there. We don't actually need it. We can just work on this one object here when doing our modeling. It just makes it a little bit easier when working with these. We probably don't even need the middle ring either, but I'm just going to keep it anyway. I'm going to do the front leg. Double click the edge loop and just extrude these legs down. extrude, oops, Control E. Sometimes it pulls in the opposite direction. And basically do the same thing that I did to the back leg to the front leg. I didn't need both of those. Undo. Just the one. Just check that it's not extruded yet. Oh, it is. Good. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just do the same thing. Make these nice and skinny. If you want to have a foot, you could extrude the foot. You see that because this face is on an angle, it's now extruding on an angle. To fix that, see this little blue widget? Just click that and it will change it back to world coordinates. Now it's a bit less dainty than the one behind it, but that's because I'm using low polygons and I'm rushing a bit for the purposes of just the tutorial. But now I'm going to pull out a head. I'm going to pull it out of this one, I reckon. Oops. It's fiddly. I could have pulled it out of that one, maybe. Yes. And this time I am going to use this diagonal option. I think they are too fat. I'm going to squeeze them in. And it's not flat. Anyway, I'm not going to finish this one off. You're just going to follow the same process as you did, for the last video, and finish it off in the same way. But that's just kind of an idea of using a reference image and using this side view, orthogonal side view, to help you model. I can see that that's off now. Okay. Next video will